Good morning, everybody, and welcome to IGTV. With us this morning, we have William H. Murray delivering the InfraGard editorial. And Bill, you're going to be talking about the principles of key management.
Right.
Okay, well, take it away because we're opening up the school books here. Go ahead, Bill.
40 years ago, I was a protege of the great IBM cryptographers that developed the data encryption standard. At the same time, they invented automated key management. Key management is the term that we use to refer to the generation, distribution, installation, change, and disposal and control of the secrets that we use to control cryptography and on which its effectiveness depends. They even created a very elegant and efficient implementation of it. Automated key management was much more revolutionary than the data encryption standard. However, for many reasons, some of them political, no one even noticed. However, the concept of automated key management underlies all of modern cryptography. My mentors, particularly Jonathan Osius, taught me a set of principles upon which they had based their system. Most of the principles are fairly obvious once they're enumerated. They encapsulate wisdom that we can use in developing and operating cryptographic systems. However, I rarely see them written down anywhere, so I would like to enumerate them for you today. The first one says, no key should ever appear in the clear outside the protective bounds of the cryptographic engine. The well-formed crypto engine will always encrypt a key before sending or transmitting it or storing it externally. If this rule is met, the opportunity for compromise of the key is very limited. The assumption of my mentors, and in their implementation, this protection was provided by a hardware engine. Implied in this rule is that the keys will be generated only in such an engine. This makes it easier to comply with the next principle that says all keys must be chosen randomly and evenly from the entire key space. Said another way, every possible key must have an equal chance of being chosen and used. One of the secrets of Ultra, the British cryptanalysis of the German use of the Enigma device, was that the Germans did not use the entire key space available to them in their machines. It also turns out that complying with this principle in software is very difficult. A recently published paper suggests that there are duplicates in one of the values in a large set of RSA keys. More about this next week. Next, there must be no structure or encoding in the keys themselves. Again, said another way, the keys must be equally strong. One reason for the failure of the government's Clipper proposal was the suspicion, never even acknowledged, much less denied, that some Clipper chips or some Clipper keys were stronger or weaker than others. One of the most difficult principles to comply with is that a key should be used once and only once. The more information encrypted under a single key, the lower the cost of cryptanalysis against the key, and the greater the value of success. We achieve optimum security if we use a key to encrypt only one object, that is, a message, a session, or a file. For example, we generate a new key for every SSL session. A counterexample, again from Enigma, because key management in the Enigma was always manual, the Germans used the same key for an entire theater of battle for an entire day. Millions of messages, or at least hundreds of thousands of messages, might be encrypted under a single key. Note that in SSL, we use separate keys for exchanging the session key and encrypting the session. We do reuse the key management key. However, we use it sparingly and only to encrypt a relatively short and random number, the session key. This is an implementation of the next principle that says that key encrypting keys and data encrypting keys must be kept separate. A key that is used to encrypt other keys should never ever be used to encrypt data, and vice versa. Said another way, nothing that has ever seen the light of day can be encrypted using a key encryption key. Only random numbers originating inside a crypto engine can be encrypted using a key encrypting key. All of this is intended to resist a known plain text attack, in which an attacker dupes us into encrypting a message whose content he already knows. If he does that with data in our modern systems, we're simply going to use a different key the next time we try to encrypt data. We don't reuse keys. He cannot do it with a key encrypting key because we only encrypt keys that we originate with those keys. Nothing that he originates would we ever encrypt with a key encrypting key. Final principle is, perhaps the most important, all key management must be fully automated. Again, said another way, no human should ever generate, transcribe, or even see a key, neither a data key nor a key encrypting key. In part, we automate to facilitate frequent key change, in part to preclude human disclosure of keys or other human errors. Thus, 6-year-olds can use and do use SSL. There are a few special cases, particularly in domain initiation and cross-domain setup, where some manual operation is required. These cases present the greatest potential for compromise. A key is most likely to be compromised at the time that it is being generated. We employ special procedures for these cases. Application of these principles will help us resist many of the more common cryptoanalytic attacks. Adherence to them is necessary, but may not be sufficient to ensure the secure design and operation of cryptographic systems. Knowledge and application of them will mark us as professionals and earn us the big bucks. Thanks again. See you next week.
Well, Bill, thanks once again for taking us into the classroom, all right, and reviewing some of these basic things which are certainly needed in the industry. You know, it's kind of funny, you know, as we've gone through all this, you know, how cryptology has really evolved over the years, you know, from PKI and everything else, and now it almost sounds like we've gone 360 degrees and come right back again.
Well, yeah, doing it right, once you learn how to do it right, is relatively easy, and it's a lot easier than doing it wrong.
I guess so, and I guess there's a great many companies out there in a lot of different verticals that are learning that lesson, sometimes the hard way, and sometimes for those, I guess, who have invested in it, the easy way, you know, just by getting it right, like you say, the first time.
One of the other things that listening to me was that there are a million or an infinite number of ways to implement security, almost all of them wrong. On the other hand, there's a relatively short list that we can learn that will help us do it right. When Bruce Schneier tried to write it all down, of course, he came up with that very, very thick book about how to implement it and get it right. It's a thick book, but it's still a lot shorter than the set of ways to do it wrong.
Yeah. All right, William H. Murray, the InfraGard editorial content you can't find anywhere else, folks. This is great information.